I call to order this work session of the Hillsboro School District Board of Directors. Our first item agenda is the Educational Equity Advisory Committee update with Francesca.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here today with some of the representatives of the Educational Equity Advisory Committee that was born out of Senate Bill 732 a few years ago. I'm going to have Jennifer introduce. Jennifer is our TOSA for Equity Access and Engagement, and also does work with social emotional learning, and she's going to introduce the team that we've been working with this whole year.
So we are so lucky to have this strong team with us tonight. So we have Chris Tyne, and Tyne, please remind me, pronounce your last name. I'm sorry about that.
Which one?
You can give them your last name. Sorry.
Yeah.
He is one of our high school students from
Central.
Yeah. Tonight we're here to welcome and talk about what EEAC is and has accomplished, our focus areas that we had this year and what we will be moving into for the year coming, and just what the role has been for our equity advisory committee. And then at the end, we'll have time for just a couple of questions or comments that if you would like to do. This year we have had an amazingly strong team that has been made up of 6 family members or caregivers, 2 classified staff members, 4 student members, 2 admins, and then 2 community members, 3 licensed staff, and 3 district support members. And together it's been a really strong and collaborative team that's been really well balanced.
All right. So what is the purpose of the EAC? First off, we advise you, the school board, on any issues that surround educational equity, on your policies and any decisions you're making. We also advise the superintendent of those same things to ensure that the students are getting appropriate equity when they're, educated. But what I find the most important is we bring to your attention whenever there are issues in our schools that have an equity problem with them. Not only bringing you those problems, but also bringing solutions and ways that we can help and ways that we can support those students using an equity.
So this year we've had several different meeting times each month. And the first one was just onboarding and bringing the group together and starting to build those relationships. In October, we really prepared for our election and just shared resources and talked about what was needed in each of the buildings or for families. And then in November, we had feedback on the topic of our immigration status, and we had the city of Hillsboro come and speak to us about sanctuary cities, and we also talked about how our SROs were supporting in the buildings and what the plan was for keeping students and families safe. And then in January, we moved into our topic of LGBTQ+, and also what were the resources and what could we do and what was needed to keep our communities united, collaborating, and safe. In February, we had a topic of safety that came around with our non-advised school. We brought that to the committee and wanted them to, wanted their insight, their expertise, and their experiences to provide some foundation for the work that we do. And then in March, we moved into racialized trauma, and we worked with Northwest ESD with story circles. And in April, we continued with bias and microaggressions. And then it came so quickly, and it was time to present the amazing work that we've been doing and just the connections we've been creating that are going to move into the coming school year. And here we are tonight on June 17th, really excited to share all that we
thing I want to emphasize too is our partnerships that we have this year. Not only did we partner with different people within our HSG system, like Jenny Carey, who's our director, a coordinator of behavioral mental health, we also reached out, like Jennifer said, to the West Side Q Center, to our district attorney's office who came in and talked. We talked to our city, that you all heard when we went to the city council meeting. We also worked closely with Northwest Regional ESC, which you all have met too, that helped take us through the story circles that Jennifer talked about, but really helped us in a different lens to dig into what was the lived experience of our students, as well as how we were feeling as staff members, community members, parents, and families, and how we could utilize that lived experience through our stories to find some focus for next year.
Okay, I feel like everything you guys have said up to now has like summarized what I'm about to say. So, I mean, number one, 2, and 3 basically summarize our the things that we answered, the problems that we focused on for this school year, 2024-2025 year. Number 1 says inclusive and supportive learning environments. As mentioned before, we talked about focus on immigration in sanctuary cities. State understanding through continual tools that were provided for schools, admin through city partnership, and then over January time period with Queer Center, Westside Queer Center, to focus on the LGBTQ plus support task force, and over doing implemented in the HSD school district, not on my school task force. And as Francesca has said before, the partnerships that we were able to make were crucial for all of this to happen with the Westside Queer Center, HSD Mental Behavioral Support Team, and Northwest, I forgot what it stands for, Northwest
Educational Service District.
Educational Service District, and City of Hillsboro.
So, a couple of celebrations from this year. We were able to elevate the understanding of our undocumented students and their families, and the concerns that they were having over what ended up being a truthful fear of the incoming administration. We're able to bring that to the board, who was able to pass a resolution for our safe schools. That is a huge deal, and it definitely gave some comfort to the families who were impacted, and everybody in general as a whole community. We also had a lot of exploration and learning from our LGBTQ plus students and our families, and then also the groups that we helped work with, as Fran and Dave mentioned. And we also definitely enhanced those partnerships through all those groups that we've already talked about, making it easier for us to work with them in the future and get better ideas from them. Growth opportunities for next year. We want to continue to work on the Not at My School campaign and strengthen it, make it as powerful as it can be, to ensure that everybody understands that that type of language and that type of behavior is just not acceptable, and that what we really want to look for in our community. We're gonna want to expand our group of people who come to the EAC and who are on the team, because we have a lot of people exiting this year, and we want to make sure that we have a full and robust discussion as opposed to only a couple of us showing up. And then we're going to continue our efforts with the staff to make sure that we, sorry, I didn't read this part.
No, that's okay.
Take actions to ensure that we involve our families and our students with the engagement that they need to ensure that they feel included, and that they feel that they are a part of a larger community, and that they feel motivated. which actually brings me over to the next slide. Considerations for next year. The first one is academic motivation. We really want to look at ways to ensure that our students are not only getting the education they need, not only feeling inclusive, feeling included, but also motivated to be here, motivated to take charge of their own education, to ensure that they're getting the most out of it for what they want, what they need, not just looking at it as a means to an end, not as just a means to get to college, not just a means to get to a career, but as the fun, as the intriguing, and as the interesting parts that education can bring, and ensure that they can get that motivation from day one. So that is something we're going to be considering next year.
So on the next two, it's SPED programming. This all came out of the story circles that we did with Inger over at Northwest Regional ESD. And so we put up a whole bunch of different quotes we synthesized the information, and number 2 and 3 came up as ones that we really wanted to talk about. And I think, Chris, you're going to take 3, right? Or do you want me to take it? You're going to take 3. So in 2, it was special education programming, and wanting to ensure that all students, that inclusion portion of when we're talking about equity, that inclusion portion that says that all students, even if you are on the spectrum, even if you present, that it's celebrated and valued as an asset, as well as an opportunity for us to provide those scaffolds and those structures so that you can be successful in our school. And through relationships, through friendships, and there's things that we do in our schools right now, things like Best Buddies, things that we do at some of our life skills programs in our high schools. How do we capitalize on that and ensure that that's something that we can value and appreciate and elevate throughout our PK-12 system? And then number 3.
Yeah. As Francesca was saying, okay, how do we bridge the gaps between the student, whether they are lacking academic motivation or they're on part of the SPED program? How do we bridge the gap? How do we reach out to them? How do we make sure, because I work with so many people at my workplace, for example, who are not, unfortunately, lost like the motivation to continue school. They didn't even finish middle school. They just kept working, going to work, or some of them thankfully did online school. How do we talk to them? I'm still trying to this day to talk to them to understand, okay, I chose this. Was there really a choice that you were given, or was this something in life that you were forced into? I think, especially since teachers have a lot of control in school, we should make sure that, okay, students are really feeling that connection with teachers. For example, myself, I take advanced placement classes, and I think without the connection that I had with my teachers, I would really be sorrowful and struggling in that class is what I meant to say. And yeah, that's really good, I guess.
Those are the 3 considerations we're looking at diving into next year, just like we did the first 3 ones that we talked to you about. Inclusion for the inclusive and supportive learning, equity in education, enhancing communication and engagement. Looking into next year, these will be the 3 that we will be focused on with our Educational Equity Advisory Committee. And that's what we have to report right now. We're open to take a couple of questions, like Jen said, if there are any that you may have for us.
How many are rotating off?
I was going to
Previewing, I guess.
a little over a dozen openings for next week.
How many people are on the committee total?
24. So over half. You guys know anybody? We're a fun group. And we lead with our heart.
Comments, I guess. Well, first, thank you for being here. It's nice to put faces behind of the about it through updates and Can we expect this type of report and recommendation cadence moving forward? Is it a once a year thing that you guys would be coming to report to us?
Definitely something that we can continue to do. We did do it last year in June, and then we've done it this year, but it's definitely something we're open to do. If that's what the board would like, is a once a year recommendation. We're happy to come and tell you what we're finding. A lot of the work that they move and that we do, I end up moving and working through with cabinet and with school, but you wouldn't know what the behind the scenes stuff is. So we're happy to come back.
Okay. Well, I would be curious if in the committee, or if there's a different cadence that would be better. But the last question, I guess, and this may be more for Fran, is when you go to, I think, the second or third slide that talks about the purpose of the EAC, I'm curious how number 3 looks, or how that plays out in practicality. So the purpose of EAC number 3 was informing the school district board and school district superintendent when a situation arises in a school that negatively impacts underrepresented students, and advising the board and superintendent on how best to handle that situation. Since the inception of EAC, has there been a situation where we have where you have operated in this capacity, and what has that looked like?
Yeah, I would think a lot of it was this year, really getting into our rhythm of it. When the elections came up, we knew that there was stuff stirring in the schools, and we were hearing it from some of the community members, parents, and the students, that those were things that were questions that were coming about safety and immigration. Feel free to chime in at any point. And then, as well as we brought to them what we were planning on doing with the hateful words task force that ended up being the Not at My School campaign. So they're a sounding board for us to help us see, is this what your experiences, we have teachers and staff members on it who will give us that information. So a lot of it is on whatever the current events are popping up in the world that come up from the students' experience, and what they all have told us their students or them as students has come up in their classrooms.
Okay.
I think you brought us, like the resolution, for example, over the course of the year when things open the EAC, I think you do bring that to our attention.
That's true. A reminder.
I just had a question. Oh yeah, I just had a question if there was any connection between the EAC and do we have like internal equity committees like at the district? Is it just staff? Is there any like communication or work between those?
There is some crossover with the staff that aren't here today, but are also in the meetings when we have climate, culture, and voice and equity meetings once a month. Some of those members, like for example, Willow and William, who are classified in a license, the license will soon be an administrator, are in both committees, so they're able to do the crossover and explain what we're doing in the school. I don't think there's been a time, can you think back, Jennifer, where we haven't had the crossover with, that's why it's really important that we have classified, licensed, and administrators on these teams for that crossover effect. And students, definitely.
Students, 100%.
I do know, just as we're wrapping this up with them, just last Friday, I received notification that there are going to be recent changes with the legislation, which will bring about adjustments to how the Educational Equity Advisory Committee interfaces with district leadership. That's House Bill 2453. Went to the floor last week and was passed. And so what that's going to include is more detailed, and I'm waiting for guidance from Oregon Department of Education, but I can say with some assurance that it's going to be a little bit more clarity of the roles and the communication pathways of how the committee is reporting and sharing and the structure that's going to go into that. And once we get guidance on that, seeing as though it just passed on Friday. I'll be sure to pass that along to you of how that's going to change. It may not be that dance we do in August when we're trying to get approval, but we'll know more when we hear from them later this month, and the governor signed and the ink's dried, and I'll pass that on to you of what changes are going to come about with the reporting.
Yeah, from my understanding, the legislative intent of the bill is to make it easier to manage committees like the EAC. So the idea was that the original legislation had placed some undue burdens on the committee that maybe shouldn't have been there, and they were trying to fix that. At least, I know as some legislators were working to figure out how they would vote on the bill, that's what they were led to believe.
Yeah, and I think there was just some concerns or considerations that need to be made for our smaller and rural communities that haven't had to come under this because they don't have to start until September 2025. We were one of the first groups that, because we have over 10,000, that had to start in 2022. So this will hopefully be in place before the 2025 comes. September.
Just one of the slides, I can't remember which one, I'm looking at it, considerations for 25, 26. Number 2 on there was Fed programs, and that caught my attention. And I was wondering, how are we conveying to our students the headwinds that we're facing with the budget? And oh, by the way, the Fed, yeah, that didn't pass. So how are we conveying? I guess what they pulled it up and they said it's important. They're right, it is important. And we just lost, presumably, a really big battle on this issue. So the question is, are we conveying that? Are we sharing that? Do they understand the headwinds that we're under as well? Does that make sense?
I think, Audrey, if you or Brooke want to help, want to think about, since you both are in those offices, of how we serve our students who have special education identification.
I guess as I've been working with the student services team and looking at the budget and how to best protect the student experience, that has, and I think we budgeted in a space of not being hopeful for extra funding. So we budgeted very conservative, and a lot of that has been in a department loss than in the student experience. I think the other piece, when I was looking at the 3 recommendations and funding the area of specialized programs and student services, is I appreciate that because a lot of the work within our strategic plan and looking at the focal groups, especially under that our special education designation, for us to stay focused on that, it's more than ever important, and that's something that we also continue to look at through our data in student services, is how do we continue to support our students and get better in supporting, looking at that data when we're under a very tight budget, but how do we do that in protecting the student experience as much as we can in that conservative budget that we have built out?
I think I would say also just looking at some of the things, ensuring a positive experience while fostering meaningful relationships and friendships. I think that's work that we do across the board. It's our social emotional learning work too, that benefits all students. So we'll continue to do those pieces and that attention on our students that are taking active.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Christy kind of offhandedly mentioned more than just a few of us there, just wasn't a few. Is that something you saw over the course of the year, maybe more exuberance for participation in the committee and it waned over the course of the year, or is attendance pretty solid all the way?
Yeah, I think we had ebbs and flows, but we really, there were a couple of times we struggled to get a quorum. So it would be nice to have a more robust and active group so that we could have more, deeper conversations.
Legislation brings some relief there. It might, I got to look at that bill again, but being a different kind of committee, you may not need a quorum to meet. That must be a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we won't have to worry about actually having a quorum anymore, but that doesn't negate the fact that it's better to have 10 than 5, you know? So, 24. I don't know if we ever had a full.
We always had somebody else.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Ms. Tyning, Jennifer, great job.
Okay. Our next agenda item is to announce Community Curriculum Advisory Committee vacancies request. Yay!
So as we wrap up our 24-25 school year, I first want to acknowledge the entire team who did an amazing job specifically looking at our math K-12 curriculum adoption and then also adopting 3 new courses this year. And thank you so much for all of your support and approval on that. And as we know, our community members are on a biennium of service, so we are recommending through your support tonight that you approve us going forth and recruiting 7 new community members, and then we also have 4 students returning. They are juniors this year, so we have 1 more year of service with them. I know, sorry about that. So we will be recruiting 2 students to fill the vacancies of our graduating seniors. Therefore, rounding out our 20-member team of CCAC. So again, looking for that recommendation to move forward in our outreach connection. I also really appreciate, I know every year we have amazing student board members, and the list of students that are not selected for next year, we outreach to those students, see if they're interested in joining a team like CCAC, so I look forward to doing that. As well as we started last year an open house, so at our last CCAC meeting, we advertised that through Hot News, where anyone who's interested can attend our last meeting to see what CCAC is like, students or adults. Before then, we just jump into advertising it. So we did have some people attend that meeting and be a part of that, ask really great questions. I think that's kind of a nice of what that committee does and who's on that team. So we also did that again this year. So with that, a small report of some of the work we did, but the ask tonight is to move forward in that outreach.
There were a few questions from the interview process that we would like to mention.
Great.
Of the 7, are any current members planning to continue in those spots, or is it all 7?
I think that we will have some returners that apply. Yeah. We have good snacks. People want to return with a good snack. But I do think we'll have some that reapply, yes.
Great. Well, thank you. Our next agenda item is to announce budget committee vacancies with Scott.
Yep, thanks, Chair. So we do have 3 positions, position 5, 6, and 7. 5 and 6 have been vacant for a while, so we would love to see some folks who want to serve step into those positions. These are 3-year terms. And position 7 has been held by Kim Strelchin, and I just want to thank her. She's very engaged, been very active in our budget hearings. I'm not sure if she's online tonight, but if not, thank you, Kim. Really appreciate your service to the committee. Hopefully people see in a year like this, any year, but particularly in a year like this, how important these positions are. And so we would welcome anyone that's interested. The requirements are that you must live within the district and be registered to vote. Of course, you can't be an officer, agent, or employee of the district. But otherwise, look forward, and hopefully we'll get some applications here in the fall.
Any questions? Thank you. Our next agenda item is to announce the Education Equity Advisory Committee vacancies with Fran.
Yeah, so we have 14 spots open, and we are actively looking for people. We have a handful of applicants. We have reached out through our leadership, our Black Village, our Latino PAC, and our Native American Latino Native PAC. We've also put it in through Hot News, and all of our family outreach liaisons received flyers about it before the year was over. We've sent it to counselors to get out to students before they left. We did get a list from Rose, so we're going to be making some phone calls to students who were interested in the school board and are also interested in other committee work. There were 3. And so if I understand right, Stephanie, who's Brooke and my administrative assistant, has sent out both for CCAC and EEAC. One thing that we might want to note too is if this doesn't change with the House bill, one requirement for EEAC is that there is somebody on the budget committee and somebody on the EEAC, that they play a dual role. And one of our outgoing members was that person on the budget, so we need to find somebody who can do both committees moving forward. So more to come. And that is all.
Our question is different than EEAC and budget, where like people apply to the board. It's more the administrative team selects a group and then just brings them. Is that about right?
Right, but then they have to be approved by for the budget team. In the past, as we've done it with Michelle, she would bring those names.
The one budget person, but the EEAC is not like an open interview process like CCAC.
In terms of, I guess, this is more for, I guess, all of the committees and just thinking about recruitment.
Have we connected with the city or the county and their leadership pipeline program? I know that at least in the past, towards the end of their cohort, they would always have like a panel discussion and invite the community members to come talk about different boards and commissions that are available either at the city level or the county level. And I'm wondering if we can send someone from our staff or someone to sit in as a representative for the district to talk about specific committee opportunities at the Hillsboro School District level.
That's a great recommendation.
So curious if that could be a pipeline.
Because those folks they've been trained through a program. I know there's a few of us who have actually been through some of those programs.
And those folks are eager. I know me graduating from that program, I was eager to fund it. And so I think that could be a really fruitful endeavor.
Great recommendation.
Yeah.
That's not here. I think she'll be online, but she works with Patrick Preston, the communications officer for the city, and they cross-advertise openings for us digitally, but your suggestion is great to do.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, Fran. Our next agenda item is to discuss board leadership and planning. And I wanted to start off by saying thank you to my fellow board colleagues for allowing me to be chair this past school year, and to Mark for his guidance and support. And I just wanted to say thank you, and my hope and wish is that I get to be chair another year, but we'll leave that up to the board. And anyone else have any comments or ideas? Yes, Sheehan?
I would like to put my name forward for consideration to be vice chair for the board. I think I am ready in my to take on the additional responsibility and the commitment that I know that the role involves. And so I would like to put my name forward as my board colleague.
Anybody else?
I would like to thank everybody for the past 4 years. I've got to be thank y'all for that. And like to be my last day sitting in this chair, so that would be great. I'd be a great vice chair and eventually a great chair. Thanks for that.
Appreciate it. And yes, I hope to be in the vice chair. with me, and that's exciting. You've been on the board for a while, and your experience is no doubt needed. Thank you. Any other comments?
Yvette, this is Patrick. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, Patrick.
All right. I just wanted to take this, good evening, by the way. I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to Yvette and Mark, especially Yvette as a first-year chair, and Mark for his many years on the, as I know it is a significant additional time commitment even beyond what the rest of us as board members put in. So it's very much appreciated, and you've made us proud. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Thank you to my fellow colleagues for this discussion and for your willingness to step up for board leadership. Our final agenda item of the work session is the bond consultation introduction with Scott and Saide. We convene at 6:02. And then our next item was our budget with Scott.
Nope, we're gonna do the bond.
Consultation.
The bond, yeah.
Bond consultation.
Yeah. And actually, Erica's gonna.
Fellow board members, I participated in the RSP selection process with, where's Beth? She's not here today. That Beth facilitated, and from that competitive process, we selected Turner, Townsend, and Harry. And here with us today, I would like to introduce Anthony Veliz, Scott Johnson, and Brooke Schumacher, who will be helping us with our pre-bond work. Do you have something prepared for them, or just kind of talk a little bit about?
I think they're gonna give us a little presentation, so, yep.
Oh, you thought we'd introduce ourselves. Obviously, yeah, thank you so much, Erica, for doing that. I'm Scott Johnson. I'm the project executive on our team, and I have some unique ties to Hillsboro. I grew up in the Beaverton area. I spent 12 years working for the Beaverton School District, so we did some collaboration with Hillsboro on security and some other elements. I was really fortunate to be a part of their 2014 bond program. It was very exciting, and so that's part of my excitement to work with Hillsboro. It's quite a fun endeavor, engaging the community and the business side and stakeholders, all the teachers and parents, and everyone has kind of a unique tie to schools. We all kind of have a connection in one way or the other. So super exciting. I can even say back in the day, I spent 10 years as a commercial union carpenter, and I worked on a Ranko elementary school. So way back when, probably in my 20s, I think, I was up framing a roof and doing concrete on that school. So I hear it's still in good standing. Mm-hmm. Literally, it's still standing. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, yeah. We try to do our best on that project. We have a couple individuals who are in the proposal who are not here. David Bodine, he's one of our subject matter experts. He's up in Spokane, and he's been a part of launching 5 school district bond programs. So he's a resource. While we're local, 35 folks local, we do have a broader reach with our firm, so we can pull in resources, which is nice. But we live here, and we grew up here, and so we have a deep connection to the community. Phil Crocker is also a guy on our team, and he's really deep into ed specs, specifications, and facilities type of details. And Max Horrell is a cost estimator, and he participated with the ODE's TAP assessment tool. And so we advised them, and that was a tool that I know you guys utilized in some of your facilities assessments. So thank you so much for having me. And Anthony?
I think it's Anthony.
Hola a todos. My name's Anthony Veliz, and I'm an Oregonian. A little bit about myself. My grandparents arrived in Woodburn, Oregon in 1943 as farm workers. My parents and myself worked in the fields until I was 16 years old. Fortunately, my dad and a group of farm workers said, hey, the only way out of the fields is to get an education. And so they started Colegio Cesar Chavez, which is actually the nation's first Latino college in U.S. history. And so he is now 80 years old, a retired teacher. But because of that decision he made, we have 43 superintendents, principals, teachers, administrators, migrant education coordinators, classified staff, you name it, coaches, we have it from Yakima, Washington, here in up to the valley here in Oregon, all the way to Eagle Pass, Texas, which is a border town and that borders Mexico. Myself, I guess I would say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I served as a school board member in Woodburn, in the Woodburn School District. I also served as a city councilor, and I served 8 years on the State Board of Education, representing at that time the 5th Congressional District first under Governor Kitzhaber and then Governor Brown. So, what I'm here, what I'll be leading is the community outreach and engagement. And I think having been on both ends of the spectrum, being part of that community that's basically as a farm worker invisible and has very little voice, especially at those times, I've taken it in my personal mission to really give people, Latinos, and really marginalized groups a voice, right? So it's not only in the work in my personal journey, but professional as well. So I'm really glad to be here. I'm super excited. I know that the district, we share a lot of similarities, and I'm just really excited to be able to work with you and to work with the community here that's very, again, similar to where I come from, and glad to be here.
So my name is Brooke Schumacher, and I'm a senior project manager. I've been a project manager for 20 years, and I've been just so lucky to spend the last 10 really focused on K-12 program management. I've got 2 kiddos at home, 2 middle school, which is very difficult for me to process as they get older. But I've been a parent who's lived through construction on their schools. And so that perspective is definitely played into my career as I do K-12 projects. I'm completely obsessed and passionate about K-12. It's what I live and breathe every day. And I have been very fortunate to get to work with 10 Oregon school districts. I've been able to work with Tiger Tualatin, Portland Public, Westland Wilsonville, St. Paul School District, and a few other ones. And I have also worked here in Hillsboro School District. I've worked on Hill High, Glencoe, Brookwood, Miller Big Picture before, and most recently I worked on City View Charter School. So have had quite an experience here in Hillsboro. I'm happy to be back. I was sharing that Hillsboro is very similar to the town that I grew up in with our demographics and culture, and so it feels like I'm going to be working at home. So I'm really, really happy to be here. I think we're ready for the next slide. Maybe the next one.
So yes, your Piper Sandler report, we've taken a review of it, and quite an exciting opportunity. 84 cents is dropping off, bringing in some bond capacity, and there's an opportunity to really capture that capacity. So timing is really good. What we particularly find exciting and important is really to develop a process and approach. And so as we kind of embark on this journey, working with all yourselves and stakeholders to really establish what are the bond projects, what are the buckets pursuing, what are the real needs, what is the community expecting, balancing those expectations. Really well positioned with how you compare it to other school districts, and under $2 is very positive. I know polling suggests that it has a very favorable passage rate, so that's big. And of course, we're going to work with outreach and marketing to really capture those voters that bring the voters in. That's super important to really connect with the community and gain that outreach and that support. So it's definitely it's a fun process to really bring people in and make those connections.
Probably next slide. So when we were chatting the other day, I used my hands a lot, and I had a couple of boards. So I'll try to kind of condense that. The goal is to really communicate to the community what the district's needs are, and that can be difficult because a lot of the needs are things that you just can't see. And so our job is to first quantify and identify what those projects are, and then send out positive messages that really reinforce that need and get our voters to participate in the election and voting for the bond. We start with extensive data. We'll pull from the ODE reports that we've received, and we will continue to work with the bond development committee to further identify different metrics that we can continue to grade projects on and further identify priorities. And so we'll kind of start with that data. It's almost like a rubber band process where you start with your base data, and then you stretch it and you continue to expand on metrics, and you go and you ask your community for feedback, and you keep stretching. You get cost data, you start to validate, and you stretch, and then you snap it back, and those priorities really become apparent with all that data and all that input. And that's how you identify those projects, and then we can communicate that out. And Anthony is going to help us with that.
Yeah, and what you see is, that last little image is really a consolidation of a lot of sweat equity, and a lot of work, a lot of communication, a lot of talking to a lot of people, and trying to really, less is better, and trying to get a high-level overview in multiple languages. We will provide this to the community. So next slide, please. So our approach is really to work with your team to first listening and learning as much as we can about how you operate internally, and about the community, and understanding on what are your goals. All this is centered with equity, and not just in words, but in deeds. And I think this is the super important that we get all of the community's feedback, have an opportunity for them to listen, to learn, and to provide us feedback. And one of the things about us when we go out in the community, folks, when they're at the meetings, they're going to see people that look like them, that know their first language, and that can communicate with them directly. So I think that's really critical, because as we know, especially as a person of color, that it's really about relationships and about eventually, hopefully, earning trust. I know you all have done an outstanding job in working with the community, and there's a lot of trust already built, and we just want to be able to springboard off that, and in partnership, and hopefully ensure that we are here, and that we're listening, and that the community feels valued, I think, is really super important. And again, I'm from Woodburn, and I actually served and worked for this Woodburn School District. I was the director of communications and parent involvement. So that meant students, families, community. And community can be a lot of things. It can be diverse community-based organizations. It can be faith-based organizations. It can be civic, Rotary, business groups. And so we just want to make sure that we leave no stone unturned, and hopefully work with you, because I know all of you are probably part of organizations and individuals and organizations that we want to be part of. So again, this is not just the work. I think this is a lifelong passion of ours, to really drill down to the community and provide them what they want. And next slide. So this is again an example of some of our community engagement, where we will, again, as much as we can, not only of course in person, but also do a lot of community surveying. Transforming, I think one thing that's really important, and we'll be working with Elizabeth, is the messaging, right? I guess you can look at us as an extension of your communication department, and and having all of you lead and us fill in as needed. Sometimes I can imagine that most of the time you'll take leads, but you may need us to jump in there. But I think obviously communication is critical, not only in English, but in Spanish and other languages. So that's going to be really important. And one word that I use a lot that is transcreation. So people go, what is transcreation? So it's not literally a literal translation. What you do is you take the region, the language, and the culture, and you basically communicate the message so people really understand it, right? Because the last thing that we want to do is be talking for an hour and then people not really understand what you're trying to communicate. We probably experience that in acronyms and jargons when we're not in that, but I think this is kind of very similar. So we want to definitely make sure that we're communicating directly with the community, the students, and the families.
Probably next slide. So we're going to, have a lot of work to do, and I think you all take kind of a break over the next maybe month or so from these meetings. We're going to be quite busy getting up to speed, and so we're working through creating kind of a 90-day plan that we're going to be hoping to review next week with the team. Kind of get very clear guidelines and next steps in place. This is a snapshot of an overall schedule that I am working on developing right now, so that this is very clear what activities we need to accomplish, and everyone knows what's happening next and what's kind of ongoing, because there's a lot of activities that'll be happening in the background, but that's coming up. Some of the immediate activities will be finalizing that schedule, creating a team charter that will become our living document. It will define roles, expectations, goals, values, criteria for success. It'll be our guiding document throughout the next year and a half as we go through this effort. So.
Brooke, if you'll forgive me, this was actually what I wanted to see and the thing that I can't see.
Yeah.
So, not for it to be reformatted, but as soon as that's available, and then I'm presuming that you will be working with them in order to come up with all of this.
Yep.
While we're quote unquote on hiatus, so to speak.
Have them ask me when they need me.
Yep. We will PDF that, and it will be updated as we go, but the baseline schedule will be developed, and then we can share that out, and then you all can follow along. So
it'll be perfect. And it includes an election to existing board members that were reelected, and then 2 new ones. So this is good timing in a lot of ways for us.
It is. I think we've got, and not to minimize the amount of work to still do, there's a lot. But I do think we do have some good starting pieces. We've done some pre-work already on the bond side. There's some facilities work that's already been done. So those will feed into this to help us move quickly. I know this will be an aggressive schedule that Brooke's going to, put us on, but that's okay. I think we're ready to roll up our sleeves and dig into it.
I think that's it for our presentation. We're looking forward to hearing questions.
This is not in our packet. Can we get this uploaded to us? I think you guys got selected late in the day, so I get why we don't have the packet. Like Nancy said, I would love to be able to look at that on my computer, so please get that to us when we can.
Important to see with the grain of salt. Very much so in draft state.
You just made the decision like last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we're 17 months from election day. Yeah.
Tight. Wait, where are we going to put this?
26.
Yep. 6.
This year? No, next year. Okay.
Next year.
All right. You scared me. That was scary.
What will be the cadence of reporting or hearing back from while moving forward?
It's a good question. I think that's kind of we can have a fluid answer. We can report as much as needed. There can be board reports. We can give interim reports. Something we will work with staff.
Yeah, and really the timeline of this was, thank you for the folks who led the selection process, and I'm so excited to work with you all in here tonight. It was Friday when it was yesterday at the end of the day when I got to sit with the group and talk about what we needed for tonight, and it was this morning when Brooke sent us the PowerPoint. So, it seems like we don't have too much of the plan on paper yet because it's been about 12 hours since we talked. And so we'll be following up with the board, and then the retreat, at least in August, we'll have an update on the plans. And thank you. Thanks for coming on short notice and making yourselves available to be here.
The biggest thing was for you guys to meet the team that we selected and also just to see like why we selected them. I feel like they understand our district and know how to connect with our community. So that's why I wanted to.
Good job.
I think that we all, not speaking forward, but we believe in this community, through and through. And, we've had some success, a measure of success when it comes to these efforts. And we want to continue with that success. And we've got a phenomenal, to work with. So we have nothing but the sky's the limit. Let's get where we need to go. Let's do what we need to do, and we'll figure out what a good reporting rhythm would be. I think that's the extra thing because we need to do it. Then that'll help the board figure out how quickly, how much, and the rhythm of that reporting to us. Yeah.
I think, like Scott mentioned, maybe this facilities work already, like, I had asked Dave about the playground, which indicates there's a list already. So, can you think of any major reasons to deviate from what was a successful script, broad outlines of the script in 2017? So we passed upon, the most recent attempt we made was 2017. It passed 2-1. Felt like a good process to me, but I was also pretty new to this job at that point. So, are you familiar with that campaign or how we ran that? And if so, do you feel like we would need to deviate from that script to do it your way or anything?
I have some familiarity, but I probably need to dig into it and refresh. I mean, definitely we want to repeat successes. There's always lessons learned. It's a different market. There's new needs. I mean, when you're 20 years ago putting roofs on, didn't want to say too much about it, and now after going through fires and smoke and all the crazy stuff, people are very receptive to brick and mortar and maintaining their schools with all the tree limbs coming down. So there's a lot of different messaging. So we'd look at, obviously it's going to be a team effort, what's successful and what we need to prove on, and how has the community changed, and who try to broad reach and get to everyone we can, support, and what draws them in to vote. So I guess the answer is yes. We'll look at what's been done in the past, and also look at your long-range plan in the future, which is super important.
And long-range plan in the future, 2017, a long time ago, we needed 3 new schools. We made 3 new schools. We did not need that again. So finding those marquee projects to motivate them to vote yes. Finding those answers, as however it sounds, like I think the lighted turf fields at high schools so football teams play home games was a big factor. We got that done.
Yeah, you bet. There's a lot of, these same similar conversations at your neighboring school districts with small schools, and I know some areas are growing. I've seen your population charts that their areas are growing, flatlining, spread equity on the district. So it's a collective dive in.
I'm super interested in what your thoughts are when you look back to what they did in 2017, which is actually when I moved to the state of Oregon. So, and having been in a major city that saw some huge bond efforts, and they were successful. I'm talking like building pins, that type of thing. These were huge. And saw what it took to get that done. It was just absolutely mind-numbingly fascinating how that was come here and now be involved and see that what we're doing. So I'm super interested to know how we're going to be, how we take this process, move it forward with different goals than what we had in 2017. What I moved here, Hillsboro was barely 85,000. Not that anymore. And yet, at the same time, we're nowhere close to building another high school, which some of our surrounding areas want. Right? So it'll be really super interesting to see what your idea of what our priorities could be, and then have the board comment on it. And then that way, because we kind of know what the community's been saying. We've got some parts of our community that, like you said, are growing, they're blossoming quickly, and then there's others that are not.
Right.
And those are the harder conversations that we've already had to have. We already have one community that has said, we've been waiting for you to build us a high school, and we can't. Because they wouldn't be able to sustain the student enrollment. Everybody's dealing with a decline. So it'll just be interesting to see how you guys assess what the real true need is. And then just compare it to from a 2017. And I almost feel like that was so long ago.
Yeah. At that time, one number we used quite a bit was that 70% of voters did not have students in school. I'd be curious to know if that's still the same. All right, our demographic might still be the thing, which means we're having to convince a lot of people who don't have kids in school how important it is to invest in school.
And also seeing a low turnout even for the election itself. That was an indication of some frustration among us as candidates. Was like, how do we get this out there? And it's the same thing when it translates. Now, there'll be more people with an opinion because it's money, and it's their mortgage, and it's all of the things. But I don't know. I'm sure Beth will keep you guys on your toes, and she knows the community, born and raised here, so we trust her exclusively as well. So.
I think generating excitement is a big part of that, and people are invested in their schools. Part of the outreach will be to touch every portion of the district, and folks say my taxes paid for that track. Well, that may not exactly be the case, but they take pride and ownership in that. So the more we can reach and give them a reason to come vote because there's something at their school or their community. A lot of people had kids in the system, so they want to continue supporting education. I mean, education's everything.
Most people are pretty shocked at how big our school district actually is. Because they don't realize that we actually are larger than the city of Hillsboro. So that engagement, that community engagement is going to be super important for us. And honestly, I'm thinking of some really strategically placed rallies and some really strategic places throughout the district so that we can drum up some support for this.
We have firm commitments from you and former Mayor Callaway.
Huh?
We have firm commitments from you and former Mayor Callaway to be the chairs of the.
Yay! Love it.
Yay. Any other questions or comments? No, well, thank you for being here tonight with us, and it was great meeting you, and thank you, Erica, for being part of for all the work that you do, and we look forward to with this on. And with that, I will recess this meeting at 6:29.
District 1J Board of Directors regular session is now in order. We will begin like we always do with the flag salute, which is right behind you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, I will be reading the Hillsboro School District Land Acknowledgement. As we gather here today, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge that our district service area is on the occupied traditional homeland of the Aphalati Indigenous people, lands we now call Washington County and the state of Oregon. We honor the Indigenous people whose traditional and ancestral homelands we stand on the Tualatin, Kalapuya, Willamette, Clackamas, Tumwater, Malala, bands of the Chinook, and many other Indigenous nations of the Columbia River. In remembering these communities, we honor their legacy, their lives, and their ancestors. We also recognize the urban Indigenous Native First Peoples community living in the metro area, which includes over 400 tribal nations. The Hillsboro School District is committed to the recognition and education regarding tribal and local history and working with our local tribes in partnership. This evening, we are going to recognize the board members who are going to be leaving us after tonight's meeting. We'll start off with our student representatives. Superintendent Ryman.
Thank you. Because the board recognizes the value of students' input on matters that are important to them, board members establish a position of student representative to the board of directors, beginning with the 2018-19 school year. Last June, Cal Sybil from Liberty High School, Gwen Condor from Century High School, and Abraham Staffa from Hillsboro Online Academy were appointed to serve as the student representatives to the board of directors in the Hillsboro School District. Throughout the year, Cal, Gwen, and Abe have invested countless hours studying board meeting materials and preparing to discuss agenda items. Speaking to the interests of students not only during board meetings, but by advocating to legislators for adequate and stable funding for schools, and representing the district at a variety of events. Cal, Gwen, and Abe have served as liaisons, maintaining open channels of communication between the board and students. Cal, Gwen, and Abe's term of service ends this month, and we take this opportunity to thank them sincerely for their dedication and valuable service and wish them success as they complete their high school education and move forward into their future endeavors. Thank you so much. We have a couple of plaques here for you. And directors, if you have anything to say, or congratulations or gratitude to share, now's the time.
Director Lopez?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it has been a pleasure to have you on the board, and this is one of the dreams that I had becoming a board member, is to have student representatives on our board. And I'm just so happy that this continues even after I do. And I know that as you go on, we always see our student reps in the community. So I'm excited to see where you go and what you do in the future. So keep in touch and let us know when you're here.
Thank you.
And I'd like to say too, I really appreciate all the questions that you had and the comments that you guys made. Brought a different point of view to the meetings, and we really, really appreciate that.
I also want to echo what has already been stated. I know it takes an incredible amount of time, but I've appreciated just your intentionality that you brought to every board meeting, and just the student perspective and the student voice that we so desperately needed. So thank you.
Thank you so much for allowing us to love on you all and support you. And thank you for letting us fight over who would get you your diploma covers. And thank you so much for just being here and being yourselves. It is so critical. And I'm very thankful to be on a board that had the forethought back when I had just moved into this state, that we should have young people like yourselves representing, and you are by far the thing that we brag about the most. You are the thing that we talk about the most when we go to meetings, and I look forward to shepherding you all for meetings coming out, at least the next group, for the fall. But we really, really appreciate you, and thank you so much for all your time.
Yes, thank you for agreeing to spend the past year of your lives with us, intertwined with your academics and your activities. I know it can be a lot. We've often seen, I was with Erica in that group that brought students onto the board, and could not be more proud of the way you guys represent our district. And we've seen students in the past take a little time to get used to it, warm up to it, but you guys jumped in day one, comments, brought that student perspective that we need as board members who, gray-haired white guy, I haven't been in school a long time, so we need the perspective that you guys bring, and thank you guys for being ready to do that day one. And I mentioned Dave earlier, thank you for continuing this tradition of holding that session for interested students before the interviews so that they can get a little sense of it. Every single one of them that we interviewed so many great students. You're going to hear the list of people that we're nominating for the next, but all of them are able to attend, benefited from you guys conducting that session. So thank you very much for agreeing to continue that tradition.
Thank you. I concur with everything that my fellow board members have stated, and I wanted to say that it's been incredible to witness how you flourish from your first meeting till now, your very last, and I am very thankful for the experience you have provided to us. And with that, we also have some plaques to present to you.
If you hadn't thought about it till now, take your name.
Yeah.
Take your name with you. Yeah. Take your name. People don't realize.
Tonight's meeting will also be the last for Director Monique Ward as she concludes her 4-year term on the Board of Directors. Director Ward was elected to position 6 on the board in 2021. During her time on the Board of Directors, Director Ward served on the Budget Committee, the Audit Committee, and the Calendar Committees, to name a few. She is best known for being extremely diligent and thorough in reading all board packets and other communications from the district and being our resident grammarian. Appreciate that. She also asks thoughtful questions to ensure she has thorough understanding of any issues or actions before her so she can make informed decisions. Director Ward often brings a unique perspective to board discussions, which enriches the dialogue and is much appreciated. We truly appreciate the years of service that Director Ward has contributed to the Hillsboro School District, and we wish her success in all her future endeavors.
Thank you. You want to begin some comments?
Yeah.
Yes?
I'll start over here. I just want to say thank you so much for your service. I also appreciate just your perspective, like Travis stated, that you bring to our board, and your preparedness every time to our board meeting. I think that even though sometimes we don't see things from the same perspective, I've always admired your respectfulness and tact in communicating your point of view, and I appreciate that because it demonstrates to our community that we don't have to agree all the time, but we can still do it in a respectful manner and have really good dialogue and create that conversation in this space where we make decisions and we're hearing everybody's perspective. So I really appreciated you being on our board and bringing that point of view. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Monique. I have so appreciated your thoughtful leadership, and you ask the hard questions. And I respect your perspective and just how you show up with integrity. So thank you for your 4 years of service on the board, and I hope that you will continue to stay engaged in some way, shape, or form with the district, because we could really use your mind and your thoughtfulness and how you lead. So thank you.
Monique, it's been a pleasure to serve with you. Deeply appreciate your time and the effort that it takes. It's a personal sacrifice that we all know about, and we appreciate you making that sacrifice. In light of all the things, I wish you much luck and success in that personal list of things that you get to do now, and thank you so much for everything.
In our current climate, it's not easy to step up and put a target on your back, and you agreed to do that. Thanks. And you're going to be an excellent board member. Glad to have served with you. Appreciate your time on the board. And just saying, you know, former board member is leaving the budget committee. We heard upstairs. I'm just saying, the pattern of that behavior. Say of your, if it's a thing you might want to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Ward, for your 4 years of dedication to the school board. And it has been a pleasure to work along with you these last 2 years and getting to know you. And, you know, you've always come to these meetings informed about our issues. You ask questions and you give great input, and that will be missed. And so thank you so much for all of the work that you put into our community. Thank you. And we also do have a plaque and one of the last few bells for you, the last two.
And the story on the plaque is that we selected the magnifying glass as a symbol of your attention to detail and your commitment to understanding the fine print on everything we do. So thank you for that. We hope you like it.
Love the magnifying.
Monique, I wanted to say thank you as well, and I'm not going to say too much, because I don't want to get emotional, but I wanted to say thank you for everything that you've done to the board, for the board, and the time that you spend every 2 weeks and every month to be a dedicated board member. I thank you for your perspective. I thank you for being someone that's different, and thank you.
And any last words you'd like to say?
Well, I'm kind of saving it for my director's time.
Okay, no problem. That's okay. Yeah, of course.
All right, tonight's meeting will be the last for Director Erica Lopez as well, as she concludes her second 4-year term on the Board of Directors. Director Lopez was elected to position 1 on the Board of Directors in 2017. She was re-elected to the same position in 2021. Director Lopez served as HSD School Board Chair for both the 2019-2020 and 2020-2021 school years. During her years on the board, she has served on the bargaining team, the Budget Committee, the Audit Committee, the Middle School Schedule Committee, and the Legislative Advocacy Committee. Her accomplishments include, but are not limited to, the passing of the 2017 bond, adding student representatives to the Board of Directors, expansion of HSD's PACs, and their access to the Board of Directors, advocating for an equity officer position on cabinet, passing a district equity policy, passing comprehensive sexuality education, and advocating for joint meetings with city leadership of the cities that HSD serves. Director Lopez has served on the Oregon School Board Association Board of Directors, where she served as Vice President of the board and was a founding member of the OSBA Color Caucus. We truly appreciate the years of leadership and service that Director Lopez has contributed to the Hillsboro School District, and we wish her success in all of her future endeavors. Thank you.
Share some words, Director Ward.
Yes. It's going to be very different, not being part of the board anymore. And I appreciate your perspective and the things that you brought up during our meetings, our work sessions. As you said, we don't have the same perspective, but I find all of my colleagues who've been respectful with one another. So I appreciate that.
Oh, man. I don't know board service without without you. I have looked up to you in how you have led our district. In addition to the many things that Travis read off, you were also our board chair during the COVID days. And I saw you show up through tears, fighting to put the safety of our students and staff first. And that is a legacy that you leave in all of your decision-making, is the student-centered nature and always leading with equity in mind. And so I hope you are so proud of all of the things that you have accomplished during your board service, and knowing that our district is at the place we are today because of your leadership. So thank you. Thank you for your 8 years of service on the board. Thank you for kind of being an unofficial board mentor for me. I have learned an incredible amount being able to serve alongside you. I'm glad that you are going to stick around for service to our district in other ways. And yeah, I'm just so appreciative of what you have given to our district. So thank you.
I'm going to tease you because you're always crying. Everything that Travis read off, I remember when I first came on the board, and I remember the conversations that we had before I decided to run, and I thought, this is a powerful Latina, and if she can do it, I can do it. That's what I was thinking. I had no idea of the impact that you actually did have until I got here. Some of the things that you've done and you spearheaded between you and Mark, and I mean, you guys did some things that quite frankly have paved the way for us to be doing business the way we do it now. There's not enough thank you. There's not enough appreciation. There really isn't. Because this is a personal sacrifice when you serve on this board, and I'm fully aware of that now. But I deeply appreciate your leadership. I deeply appreciate the fact that I can go to an annual meeting and people say, hey, how is Erica? How is she doing? Or your presence, you're almost omnipresent, almost. So it's really awesome. I appreciate the fact that you're in my life personally. I love it that you're picking up one of my favorite sports, and I want you to keep doing that. But I'm super excited that you will be joining us in a different leadership capacity that is going to be so, so, so incredibly important to this community. So it sounds like a cliche, but it is not one. Thank you.
Yeah, probably. I've also only ever known board service with Erica as well. So we ran twice together, and the bonds you form in a campaign last forever. All of the things that everybody else said. Personally, one of the things that's going to affect me the most is, Erica knows this about me, is that even when I agree with you, I'm likely to argue with you, maybe to help you hone your point or whatever. And she's always been there when we were at an OSBA convention or someplace where people would be like, asking, like, what the heck's wrong with that guy? Or whatever. She'd be like, no, he's fine. So I don't know what I'm going to do when there's nobody around to tell everybody that I'm fine. Will you? Thanks, appreciate it. And yes, grateful that you're gonna spearhead our bond campaign. Thank you for agreeing to do that. And yes, new hobby. I look forward to playing golf together. I'm gonna stop.
Thank you. Everything my fellow board members stated is true. Erica, Director Lopez, the impact that you have done for this district in our community is honestly a legacy that we will see for years to come. Just the things that, Travis mentioned, but all of the work that you have done has been a positive impact on our students and as fellow board members. We've gotten to see you, learn from you, and it has been an incredible journey just these last 2 years to work alongside you. The 8 years you have dedicated to our community that, you do this, we are elected officials, but we do this work for free. And so outside of, your work and that you do for a living, you come to these meetings, you show up. For 8 years is a long time and a very great long time, because it's sad to see when someone who's done such impactful work, leave. But it's also, it'd be selfish of us to, not let you go out in peace, because 8 years is incredible. And so thank you for all of those years. Thank you.
And I am very jealous of the bell. Monique and you both. For 8 years, Erica and I have seen people leave the board and get a bell. Apparently, these are the last 2 bells. So I don't know if you guys do that, but these are the final 2 bells, and the person who has been crafting the bells has decided they would no longer, they are very difficult apparently. So these are the last 2 bells. I'm very jealous that I will never get a bell.
We do have a bell and a plaque for you, but I think Rose has some words she'd like to share.
Sorry, Mark, you don't get a bell. Sorry. Erica, thank you for your time. It has been my pleasure to be only no time with you here, and it has been a pleasure to serve you as your assistant when you were the board chair, and your wisdom and serving together during COVID and all those craziness. I appreciate you, and I'm going to stop talking before I start crying, because we're both not on us. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Can we take a picture together?
We chose the symbol for your plaque to be the gavel, to remember your steady and strong leadership during some of the most challenging times we've ever faced. So thank you for your leadership.
Erica, want to share some words, or do you want to?
I'll just say I'll have more to share at the director's time, but I just wanted to say thank you. And it's been amazing to serve for the 8 years, and also I'm a crybaby, so I'm trying to compose myself. But I couldn't have done the work that I do without the members of my board, cabinet, and the support of my family, my community. I think that this work sometimes seems like, what is it that they do over there? And we have to run the business of the school district so that things keep going. And sometimes it's one of those things that you don't see often until there's something that happens, and then you're like, oh, what's the board? What do they do? But I'm so thankful that I got this opportunity. And I grew up in Hillsboro. I went to Hillsboro schools, and to be able to serve my community and give back in this way has been probably the honor of my life too. And I'll still be around because I live in Hillsboro, and I'm still going to support the passing. I want to continue supporting the efforts that we do. Especially, I'm going to be co-chairing the bond committee and helping continue to work on getting support from our community to maintain our buildings, do all the work that we need to do. But I will miss everybody in this role. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Lopez. And thank you, Director Ward.
I move that the Board of Directors approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved by Director Watson and seconded by Director Ward to approve the agenda as printed. Is there any discussion? A motion carries. Our next agenda item is audience time. Rose, do we have speakers? Wonderful. I will be reading our revised audience participation statement. As representatives of the community, members of the Board of Directors believe that listening to public input is essential to making wise decisions, so we thank you for taking the time to be here. We consider this your time to speak and our time to listen, so individual board members will not reply directly to you immediately following your comment. If a board member hears something that requires additional attention, they may request it be added to a future meeting agenda, or the superintendent or his designee may reach out to you directly to connect with you. We are fortunate in the Hillsboro School District to have a collaborative community that can discuss points of disagreement in a respectful manner. With this in mind, rudeness, ridicule, obscene or profane language, impatience, lack of respect for others, and personal attacks are not acceptable. Comments aimed at state and federally protected classes are prohibited. Audience demonstrations supporting or opposing a speaker or idea are not permitted. We welcome frank discussion of district operations and programs, but in public sessions, the board does not hear comments regarding any individual district staff member. Public participation in board meetings is governed by policy BDDH, public comment at board meetings. There are structured channels for the board to review complaints involving staff members, described in board policy KL, public complaints. As you start your remarks, please share your name and, if speaking for an organization, the name of your organization. We allow up to 3 minutes for each public comment. Please feel free to follow up by email to the board or the superintendent. Rose will be calling your name, and you get 3 minutes, and you'll hear a little buzzer go off, and that's when the 3-minute time is up. Go ahead, Rose.
Thank you. I'd just like to remind the audience that after the speakers, we'll ask you not to display any support or against, so we'll ask you not to clap or cheer or anything like that, please. Thank you. Our first guest is Christina Bowerman, and she is online. Christina, go ahead.
Good evening, Hillsboro School District Board members. My name is Christina Bowerman, and I am the Executive Director of the Hillsboro Community Foundation. Also present with me tonight is Funda Kelsey, President of the Hillsboro Community Foundation Board of Directors. We are here tonight to share the number of scholarships awarded to local high schools in Hillsboro in 2025 through funds established by Bernie Keene, former Hillsboro mayors Jimmy Darr and Gordon Faber, Bob and Brenda Herb, the LaGood family, and Pacific Landscape Management Company. In late May and earlier this month, the Hillsboro Community Foundation attended senior award ceremonies and presented scholarships to 9 Hillsboro seniors, totaling $23,000. Glencoe High School received 4 scholarships, $3,000 for both Kara Finnegan and Kendall Gore, a $2,500 construction industry-focused scholarship for Axel Asanza, and $1,500 for Diego Alvarado Rodan. Century High School received 1 $3,000 scholarship for Abby Nguyen. Hillsboro High School received 2 scholarships, 1 $3,000 scholarship for Aspen Radke, and a $2,000 healthcare-focused scholarship for Karen Esparza. Liberty High School received 2 scholarships, 1 $3,000 scholarship for Zoe Varela, and a $2,000 music-focused scholarship for Tia Smith. In addition to these scholarships for high school seniors, the Hillsboro Community Foundation is also awarding $30,000 to students going into their second year of college. The Hillsboro Community Foundation appreciates this special partnership with the Hillsboro School District and wants to extend a special thank you to Hillsboro School District Communications Specialist Katie Russell Willis and School to Career Specialist Whitney Salfeld from Glencoe High School, Tim Casper from Hillsboro High School, Juan Valdivia from Liberty High School, and Scott Keller from Century High School. All of these individuals played a crucial role in supporting the Hillsboro Community Foundation's 2025 scholarship process. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Our next speaker is Lincoln Kemper. Lincoln, you can step up to the podium there, and then when you speak, speak directly into the microphone. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lincoln, and I'm here on behalf of my family and myself. And I'm here to talk about reinstating Coach Reynoso for Glencoe. My experience with him has been an everlasting impact on me. As a freshman, I came in to the Glencoe football program, and meeting Coach Reynoso has been a blessing in many ways. I've had my experience with him through football, lifting early in the morning, and his leadership council program that goes to bringing football players to become better people and helping our football players be good members to our community and society. I would just like to say that I would want my kids to be coached by Coach Reynoso, and he is a very important person to me. He has helped my growth as a person and as an athlete. He has helped me with time management, following through with my commitments, and leading by example. Our whole mission statement as the Glencoe football program is to use the game of football to further become partners, parents, and contributing members to society. He is using the game of football to build quality people you want in this Hillsboro society. All I am asking is to not let the voice of few drown out the voice of many. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lincoln. Next is Steve and Janet. Hope I mentioned this right. Sia. Thank you. If you'll speak right into the microphone. Thank you.
My name's Stephen C., and it's my wife Janet. I'm talking to you in support.
Sorry, right into the microphone because they won't hear you online.
Forward.
Yeah, you can pull it. Yeah, thank you so much. Apologize.
Okay. Yeah, my name's Stephen C., and this is my wife Janet, and we're talking to you in support of reinstatement of Coach Reynoso for track and wrestling. I've known Coach Reynoso for approximately 5 years. My oldest son played football and ran track with him. My youngest has Ian for an advisor and a teacher now. He does so much beyond coaching on the field. Like Lincoln said, the leadership councils, I think, are really great. You don't see that everywhere. He takes an interest in the classes. He opens the weight room year-round for all athletes so they can train. No matter if they play football, run track, or anything. He cares about the overall development of these young adults, both on and off the field. We believe in what he stands for so much that we continue to volunteer to help the football team, even after my oldest son graduated and we have no son in the program. To me, this seems like a kid acting stupid, which happens a lot. Believe me, I coached youth baseball for many years. And I just want to ask the question, why should anyone have to suffer from it? And I do believe that all the student athletes that he wouldn't be able to coach would be worse off for it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Janet C. I just wanted to say the first time I ever met Coach Reynoso was in his spring Welcome to the Football Program meeting. And I've worked in high school and I worked with many football coaches, and he shocked me because he said the goal of his program, and I'm expecting, is to win, win, win. And it wasn't. It was to, like Lincoln said, to build great community members, to make men and women of character. And I've seen that throughout the last 5 years. That's all he's done. He works tirelessly year round to make better people for Hillsboro. So I don't think he should be punished. And I think you'd be punishing all the kids that wouldn't get to play for him in wrestling and track. And we're talking every year, hundreds of kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve and Janet. Next up is Sharna Donovan. Could move it.
There's a little box.
Yeah, you can stand on. There's a box to stand on.
No, I'm good. My name is Sharna Donovan. I come in this from a couple different perspectives. One, my boys play football. They have wrestled. They have done track with Coach Reynoso for years. But also, I come in it from the perspective that, I get emotional, sorry. I have actually been a youth coach for Glencoe football for 9 years. That means that I was youth coach prior to Reynoso being the head coach at Glencoe. I've been a youth coach for many years with Coach Reynoso being the head. Additionally, I have 20 plus years of experience in the workplace. I've worked at Nike, at Under Armour, working with coaches and athletes. So I understand coach mindset. I've worked with many, many coaches. Prior to Coach Reynoso coming in at Glencoe, it was definitely taught to the youth coaches, win. Kids are irreplaceable. We can have more kids next year. Doesn't matter. Grab their helmets, yell at them, all of that. All of that immediately changed when Coach Reynoso started leading Glencoe High School. It was about making the kids love the game, making the kids feel important and empowered and part of a team, because that would help them succeed by having a strong team that held them to high standards. So that is what he has brought into the high school. That's what he has brought into the community. One of the biggest things he does with his players, and I did it with my players when I've coached for many years, most of these guys out here actually have coached, so I know them well, is if a kid was to do something in a game where they screwed up, you drop a ball, you miss a tackle, something like that, he does not ever yell at his kids on the sideline. They would get upset. They felt bad. They knew they had missed the play. And his response was always, that's okay, make it up on the next one. So I feel like punishing him for whatever has been said, whatever has gone on, and all of that is not allowing both the student he interacted with and anybody else to make it up on the next play. It's taking them out of the game, it's taking everybody out of the play, and not letting him be there for the rest of his team, which is all the students at Glencoe. And they're the ones who need his leadership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharna. We have Todd Harple.
Hi, everyone. I'm Todd Harple. I've lived in the Hillsboro School District for the better part of 20 years. My youngest is currently finishing up his junior. He finished his junior year in high school, rising senior. We've known Coach Reynoso for many years, but not as a coach. We knew him first as a teacher. He taught my daughter graphic design. She loved him. He supported her in ways that other teachers weren't. He even seeks her out in the community. If she is at the coffee shop, she's around town, he will actually check on her well-being, because this is the kind of human he is. Now, I've been around a lot of coaches as well in the Olympic context, and presently I work for the Stanford Sports Equity Lab. And we talk a lot about winning and winning well and losing well. Coach Reynoso is an excellent example of how to do both. We see him on and off the field role modeling how to be a good human, a responsible human, a generous human. And it seems to me the discipline in this case is not remedy, it is punitive. This is a man who should be he should be coaching. He should be touching as many students as possible because all he exudes is positivity. And so I think we need to revisit the notion of remedy in his case so that we can then return him to his full coaching capacity and his full self in the school. I would hate to see him not have his full self at Glencoe High.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Next, we have Brian Soldani.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Brian Soldani. I'm an HSD parent, and I have 3 kids who have been coached, taught, mentored by Ian Reynoso over the last 9 years or so. It would definitely be a punishment not only to upcoming seniors, which I have 3 of them, but also to all the kids younger than that. As you've heard from many other people in the community, he is a very strong leader in the community. And he doesn't consider them teams, he considers them family. And when you remove somebody from the family, who knows what's going to happen. I don't even want to think about what it's going to be like without him there. We'll definitely miss him. If there's nothing that the board can do to reinstate him, I strongly encourage the reinstatement to his full capacity, as Todd just mentioned, and would ask if there's anything more that you need from us, from the community, to make that happen. Please let us know, because we will stand behind it 100%. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And finally, we have Leslie, and I'm not going to butcher your last name. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Leslie Podwis. I have 4 kids. 3 have gone through high school at Glencoe, and my 4th is an incoming senior at Glencoe High School. All 4 of my kids have been coached by Ian Reynoso. He has been coaching my kids for about 10 years, and I'd like to address my message to Coach Reynoso. Coach, I address my message to you because I don't know the members of the board, but I do know you, and I have faith in you. It would be a huge loss and travesty if this board does not reinstate you to your full capacity. Hundreds of student athletes will miss out on the positive love and influence that my kids have received from you. Thank you for being a man of honor. Our society is built on honorable men and women. Our boys and girls need the example and protection of men like you. Thank you for instilling boundaries, expectations, good work ethic, fun, and family to my students, to my children, and hundreds of other student athletes. My oldest son wanted to quit football, but you didn't give up on him because that was what family does. They don't give up on each other. He is so grateful to have continued his football. It gave him confidence, direction, purpose, and amazing memories. My daughter always sought to throw further because she wanted Coach Reynoso to be so happy and scream, "Soraya!" across the field. She wanted to do her best for her coach because you always did your best for her and for all of the students. When my youngest, as a new freshman track athlete, was acting out, you didn't give up on him either. You gave him another chance. So thank you. Something I highly respect about you is your inclusion of your family in all that you do. So thank you to your wife, Alyssa, and to your mom, Karen, and to your kids for their devoted love, service, and sacrifice for the Crimson Tide family. You are not replaceable. My son, Bo, says, thank you. You know he is a man of many words. Soraya says, I love you, and you have made an incredible impact on my life. And to my children who have messed up and have had to apologize to you, I teach them to be penitent, to apologize for their actions, to lose gracefully, and ask what they can do better next. The greatest step a man can take is the next step and move forward. And board, I ask that you reinstate Coach Reynoso. All love him. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you. Our next agenda item is to approve the consent agenda. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors approve the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
It has been moved by Director Thomas, second by Director Lopez, to approve the consent agenda as printed. Is there any discussion? Motion carries. Our next agenda item is the budget hearing. We will now recess the regular session of the Hillsboro School District 1J at 7:46 and call to order the budget hearing of the Hillsboro School District 1J at 7:47. We will now hear public testimony. Rose, have you received any public input? No? Great. So then Scott, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, Chair, and for the board, everything is the same as what we discussed in the last hearing. We took the supplemental budget that you approved, that you adopted, and we included that into the current budget document, and we made the appropriations that we discussed last time. No other changes.
Thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors adopt the resolutions to adopt the 2025-26 budget, appropriate the 2025-26 budget, and impose 2025-26 taxes, and categorize the levy as shown in the June 17, 2025 board meeting packet.
Second.
It has been moved by Director Lopez, seconded by Director Ward, that the Board of Directors adopt the resolution to adopt the 2025-26 budget, appropriate the 2025-26 budget, and impose 2025-26 taxes and categorize the levy as shown in the June 17, 2025 board meeting packet. Is there any further discussion? No. Rose, can you call the roll, please?
Sheehan Kim.
Aye.
Erica Lopez.
Aye.
Patrick McGuire.
Aye.
Nancy Thomas.
Aye.
Monique Ward.
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja.
Aye. Motion carries. We will now recess the budget hearing of the Hillsboro School District 1J at 7:48 and call to order the regular session of the Hillsboro School District 1J at 7:49. We have two action items this evening. Our first is to accept recommendation and appoint student representatives to the Board of Directors. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors accept the recommendation of the interview committee and appoint Nicole Ayala, Nicole Ayala Congachi from Glencoe High School, Jocelyn Trejo Reyes from Hillsboro High School, and Hazel Cleveland from Oak Street Academy to serve as student representatives to the Board of Directors for the 25-26 school year.
Second.
It has been moved by Director Thomas and seconded by Director Watson that the Board of Directors accept the recommendation of the interview committee and appoint Nicole Alaya Kangachi from Glencoe High School, Jocelyn Trejo Reyes from Hillsboro High School, and Hazel Cleveland from Oak Street Academy to serve as student representative to the Board of Directors for the 2025-26 school year. Is there any further discussion?
As someone who sat on the subcommittee to interview the students, I can say we had a lot of interest. The decision was as difficult as it ever is. Four students from one school, 4 students from school two, and 7, I think, from the last school. Making a decision was very difficult. I think our board members will be very impressed with our selections. Thank you for accepting the suggestions we made. Appreciate the work of Chair Pantoja and the interviews, and Rose obviously for setting everything up. We have one of our new school board students here as well. Be sure to say hello at some point. Just grateful to everybody for the process, and yeah, my last day in this chair. So when I go over to that chair, I think I get to be back in the mentorship rotation. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yes, absolutely. Yes to everything Mark said. Interviewing 15 incredibly unique students was amazing, but also a really hard decision. I remember the first time around, Mark said, it's only going to get harder after you meet every single student because they're all incredible in their own way. And it's honestly lived up to that statement because all, HSD students are fantastic. And, it was hard to pick just 3, and hopefully next year some of my fellow board members who haven't had the opportunity to do this process get to do it and just get to meet some of the incredible students we have here. So thank you. Any other comment?
Yes, if I may, I'd like to mention I met the incoming student representatives, those recommended to the board, in a virtual meeting along with the other prospective student representatives. I appreciated getting to meet each and every one of them. And to the students who are not recommended to the board, I would like to mention I have several friends who are not recommended to the board, and I've seen them thrive in the various committees that work to improve the school district, and I would highly recommend you look into those if you are listening, because they do fabulous work there. Thank you.
Thank you, Cal. Rose, can you call the roll, please?
Before I call the roll, I'd like to introduce you to Jocelyn Trejo Reyes. She's here in the audience. She is from Hillsboro High School. And then I'd like to introduce you to Nicole Ayala from Glencoe High School. She's online. There she is. And Hazel Cleveland from Oak Street campus. She's an early college student. And there she is. We have picked 3 wonderful student representatives, and I know that they're going to represent their schools well and all the other students of the Hillsboro School District. And thank you to the 3 student representatives who have represented the students so well this year. All the student representatives that attended the online meeting had wonderful things to say about the meeting that you conducted. So thank you so much. I think it's a tradition that has served all the students very well. And I just every year worry that you guys aren't going to be able to do that yourselves. And every year it's a raving success. So thank you so much. And you guys have done such a great job. So thank you so much for everything you've done. With that, Sheehan Kim.
Hi.
Erica Lopez.
Hi.
Patrick McGuire.
Hi.
Nancy Thomas.
Aye.
Monique Ward.
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye.
And Yvette Pantoja.
Aye. Motion carries.
Welcome aboard.
Okay. Our next agenda item is the financial report with District Financial Officer Scott.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to call your attention to one thing, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if the board has them.
Sorry, before we do that, we have one more.
One more, I'm sorry. Our last action item is the notice of intent to purchase. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors acknowledge the notice of intent to purchase by use of a cooperative purchase agreement under the authority of the State of Oregon, ORS 279A.215, permissive cooperative procurements.
Second.
It has been moved by Director Lopez, seconded by Director Thomas, that the Board of Directors acknowledge the notice of intent to purchase by use of the cooperative purchasing agreement under the authority of the State of Oregon, ORS 279A.215, permissive cooperative procurements. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Director Ward?
Not really discussion, just wanted to say thank you to Megan for responding to my question this morning concerning this switch. So I appreciate that, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? No? Rose, can you call the roll, please?
And Kim,
Aye.
Erica Lopez,
Aye.
Patrick McGuire,
Aye.
Nancy Thomas,
Aye.
Monique Ward,
Aye.
Mark Watson,
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Okay, now this one. Our next agenda item is the financial report with district financial officer.
Yay,
Scott.
Right, this time, I got it.
Yeah, this one's right.
Thank you, Chair. The only thing I wanted to highlight, and then I'd be happy to take any questions if the board has them, is that we are having one of our business office folks, Rhonda Crouch, who's done 26 years of service to the district. She is our PERS expert. She's taught me things about PERS since I got into this job. And so I just wanted to acknowledge her long tenure in our department. She'll certainly be missed. And then I'm happy to address any other questions the board may have.
Yes, Director Lopez?
I just had two things. One, a question. I saw that the print shop is going to be doing an intergovernmental agreement with PPS to do their print. Do we currently do other school districts?
I think we're doing any other districts, although that's certainly a topic since we do have this capability now. It may be something we want to look into in the future. We have, excuse me, let me back up. No districts, but we do the printing for the ESD, so the Educational Services District. So sorry, I forgot about that one. But I think it's an opportunity, if we can be of service to those other districts, to expand this capability in the future.
And I'm assuming, is this generating revenue for us?
Yes, indeed, Director Lopez. It does generate revenue for us. We obviously try to, these are fellow districts, we try to give them a very competitive price, but we also have to, it pays for itself, is really what I'm trying to say.
That's what I wanted to know. And the only other comment that I wanted to make is that I always appreciate just on the financial report, there's always information about process improvements that that area is doing. And I know it's not like the things that you see flashy, but I really enjoy seeing like the accounts payable and payroll stuff. That's exciting to me. I'm like, wow, you're going paperless? That's awesome. So I just wanted to highlight, Jeff and Scott, thanks for all that work.
It's exciting to us too, Director. maybe just us, but yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for Scott?
Just want to say thank you, Scott, for all your help in choosing new consultants that will be assisting us and for arranging that they would be here to meet us today. That was very helpful. Very excited because they seem to reflect this community that is so incredibly important. So thank you for that and all your hard work. And you have stepped into large shoes and you have not missed a beat. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. That concludes our agenda items and brings us to HEA reports.
Came up quick for this moment. Good evening, Chair Pantoja, Vice Chair Watson, fellow board members, Superintendent Ryman, and administrative leaders. My name is Mary Kay Babcock, and my pronouns are she, her, it. I'm a proud music educator of 28 years, and I'm honored to serve as the president of the Hillsboro Education Association. Congratulations to all our graduates, the class of 2025. This spring, HEA proudly awarded 2 $1,000 scholarships to outstanding students who are graduating seniors and children of active HEA members. Congratulations to Peyton Casper from Century High School. Peyton is the daughter of Tim and Julie Casper. Tim has been a member of HEA for 29 years. Our second recipient is Oliver Colbeck from Newburgh High School. Oliver is the son of Matt and Sarah Colbeck. Sarah has been a member of HEA for 10 years. Peyton plans to study at the University of Oregon, go Ducks, and Oliver plans to study mathematics at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. As I reflect on this year, I'm both inspired and humbled by all of the things that we've accomplished together and the challenges that we've confronted along the way. After 19 bargaining sessions, we secured a contract that reflects the priorities of our members and the needs of our students. This year brought uncertainty with the closure of the Department of Education, as well as significant challenges stemming from the current administration's executive orders that deeply affected our immigrant and LGBTQ2SIA+ members, students, and community. HEA remains actively engaged with our members to prioritize their safety, their well-being, and we continue to advocate for meaningful progress in supporting our most marginalized and vulnerable communities. Thank you for including HEA in the ongoing work with the Not at My School initiative. This work is in progress to interrupt and address behaviors that cause harm to our students and to foster a more safe, inclusive, and supported learning environment. We've also continued our tireless advocacy for increased school funding because our students deserve better. In a historic first, we collaboratively organized the school funding town hall where students, educators, and community members shared their powerful stories directly with our lawmakers, underscoring the urgent need to fully fund our schools at $12.3 billion. We've attended hearings at the state capitol and rallies and hosted a May Day rally at Hillsboro Civic Center where we celebrated labor history and honored those who fought for our current labor rights, like the 40-hour work week and weekends. On June 5th, Oregon Education Association and members on June 5th, Oregon Education Association leaders and members stood alongside the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, and the Service Employee International Union, SEIU, at the Fund Oregon Now rally. We were united in our call to demand for full investment in public services. We continue to mobilize, urging our members and their networks to call and write their legislators with one clear message: Oregon must fully fund public education now. HEA and HSD have been engaged in impact bargaining since May 20th. To be clear, HEA supports the implementation of course outcomes. This work has been reported as transformative for our piloting educators, especially for our English language arts educators. Following discussions of workload impact during labor management and a formal presentation to David B. Flanick and Becky King-Smith, we appreciate HSD's decision to extend the implementation timeline and to bargain with us regarding our workload concerns. What's vitally important to us is that every educator receives the same level of support and feels confident and prepared to implement course outcomes successfully. We remain hopeful that educators requesting continued support will receive additional time and assistance needed to ensure a successful and sustainable rollout. We continue our impact bargaining efforts tomorrow in our third expedited bargaining session, and we're hopeful that we can find common resolution via a memorandum of agreement. HEA celebrated our 22 retirees on May 30th at Wingspan. This event is bittersweet as we will miss our colleagues and their expertise. However, they leave us with pearls of wisdom. When asked what advice they would give to today's educators, they shared the following. Please look out for your colleagues who don't often hang out in the staff room. They might stay in their classrooms to stay on top of this sometimes impossible job. Be sure to pop in and say hi every so often. It makes a big difference. I know it did for me. Another educator shared, be real with your students. Let them see your successes and failures and how you handled those. Love, laugh, forgive, and enjoy the ride. What a privilege it is to love children and nurture within them the love for learning. Another pearl, my advice for educators is to never give up.
Some days you will feel like the worst teacher that ever existed and make you question your career path. And then the next day, you'll feel like you deserve a plaque with your name on it outside the school for being the best teacher of all time. So be sure to be kind to yourself, establish your boundaries, and remember the reasons why you chose this profession. Lastly, teaching is a difficult job. Find pleasure in the positive connections you make with your students, and make sure you enjoy your summer breaks. I want to say thank you to Monique Ward and Erica Lopez for your service to the HSD School Board. Many people do not know that this is a volunteer position. Your hard work and your dedication to our school district is very much appreciated. Thank you, and all the best to you in your future endeavors. For remaining members, being a music educator and a former bell choir director, I may or may not know how to obtain a bell for future school board members. It's called Hallmark. They're in Pennsylvania. You can get it. So we hope you all have a wonderful summer, and we look forward to resuming our work with you in August. Thank you.
Thank you. This brings us to discussion time, and we will. No, not tonight. No comment from MC tonight. And we'll start with our student representative. Hey, take the lead.
All right, y'all are gonna need to wait for me to open up my paper. I wrote something. So. Good evening, everyone. This is a bittersweet moment. As I sit here for my final meeting as a student representative to the board, I am filled with a mix of gratitude, nostalgia, and admiration for each and every one of you. When I began this role, I hoped for a seat at the table. What I didn't realize then was that I would also find my voice. This opportunity not only taught me how to speak, it taught me why to speak. It showed me the value of the student perspective in rooms where decisions are made, and it gave me the chance to represent not just myself, but so many peers who deserve to be known, valued, and empowered to achieve their dreams. This experience has motivated me to continue, or at least attempt to, make changes that will leave this place better than I found it. I recently applied to become a student representative to the Oregon State Board of Education. This local role has been foundational to my growth, and I hope to carry what I've learned here to a state level, bringing student perspectives into even more spaces where they are needed. To the student representatives who will take this seat next year, if you're here, they were here. They were not. I was not for the last student representatives last year. I was not there to see them. So hello, it's crazy to see y'all. This should be a normal thing. I wish I was here for the last student representatives. I'm so excited for you. You're not just inheriting a title. You're stepping into a role with the power to shift conversations, shed light, and challenge norms. Don't be afraid to shake things up in the first couple of meetings. The board needs you to bring your whole authentic selves to bring change. This year hasn't exactly been smooth sailing. The political environment surrounding education has made things especially challenging, but uniquely meaningful. It's been a year of navigating tough conversations, growing through discomfort, and learning how to lead with both clarity and compassion. And despite those challenges, or perhaps because of them, I've emerged from this year stronger, more driven, and more certain than ever that student voices matter. To everyone, students, teachers, district employees, families, and the community, we strive to foster an environment that makes our district special. Keep showing up, keep being vocal, be in the room where it happens. I applied for this role because I wanted transparency. For myself, for my classmates, for the community. I'm proud to have played a small part in opening up these conversations because people do want to know what's going on, and I know we're better when they do. Now I'd like to express some special thanks to those I've come to know most during my time here. Note, this isn't everyone, because if I did that, we would be here till 9. We'd be here until I need to get my wisdom teeth removed tomorrow. To Nancy, your wise words and thoughtfulness have inspired me more than you know. You've made me a better speaker just by listening to you. More importantly, you felt like a friend from day one. Thank you. So with that, although we didn't have many conversations, your presence speaks volume. You carry the responsibility of board chair with grace and compassion. I've always admired how deeply you care about amplifying the voices of everyone around you. To Rose, thank you for being my anchor behind the scenes. Your reminders, guidance, and calm steadiness have been invaluable. I don't think I could have made it through the year without them. I truly appreciate all the hard work that often goes unseen. To Travis, thank you for your patience and kindness throughout this process. I know there have been challenging moments this year, but your willingness to support me as a student representative meant a lot. I appreciate the way you treated me with respect and openness and equality. To Mark, you've always been someone I could count on. I still remember how nervous I was during the interview process, and you helped me stay grounded. You've been a calm, steady voice and a cool one at that. My fellow student representatives, Cal and Gwen, you are incredibly dependable, whether it was answering my whispered questions mid-meeting or giving me a ride to film an interview scheduled right after the school day. Thank you. I always knew I could count on you. To Cal, your creativity and wise words were always a bright spot. You brought positivity to every meeting, and I know you'll go on and accomplish great things and enact the same positive changes that seem to follow you wherever you go. This room has felt like a second family. While I've only named a few specific people, please know that everyone here has helped change my life. I'm so grateful to have worked alongside people who genuinely care about students, not just as numbers, but as individuals with dreams, ideas, and voices. As I leave this role, I'm reminded that real change isn't always loud. Sometimes it's in the quiet courage of showing up, asking questions, and choosing to care publicly. So I'll conclude with this. If there's one thing I hope my time here has shown, it's that students have many things to say. And when we're invited to the table, we will show up, ready to listen, ready to speak, and ready to grow. Please protect the position of student representative. It's a role that taught me valuable skills and has awakened a drive within me to give back to this wonderful community I can call home. Thank you for knowing me, valuing me, and empowering me to achieve my motto. I butchered the last slide. Thank you for knowing me, valuing me, and empowering me to achieve my dream, just like the motto says.
Thank you. And Abe, what?
I don't have something written out. That was really, really good, though. That was really good. I just wanted to thank the board and everybody in this room because I have learned so much this year. I do not even know how to express how much my perspective and values have totally changed this year. Each of you have greatly inspired me, and your dedication to kids and education will stay with me forever. So thank you for granting me this year of learning, growth, and advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen. Cal?
To the incoming student representatives who will take these seats after us, just so you know, delivering a jaw-dropping speech is not in the job. Delivering a oh my goodness, one third time's the charm. Delivering a jaw-dropping speech is not in the job description, but as these two have shown, it works quite well. I can't believe it's been a school year since I first sat in this chair, and though the time went by much faster than I expected, I am so glad to have met so many wonderful people who are dedicated to improving our schools and have learned so much about public speaking and how to advocate for a properly funded education. I'd like to thank the board for continuing to take the risk of inviting high school students to your meetings. Very brave decision in some cases. And for creating a positive and welcoming space for incoming student reps. Once again, I appreciate all that you do, and I wish every single one of you the very best.
Thank you, Cal. Superintendent Ryman?
Thank you. Just real quickly, thanks to directors Pantoja and Watson for serving as chair and vice chair. You're welcome. It was fun to plan these things with you and Rose. And Rose, thanks for your service this year. Thanks to directors for supporting our high school graduates by handing out diplomas on hot days and making that a wonderful celebration of the achievements of our students. And thanks to HSD leaders and the board for navigating a tricky year politically, budget-wise. We supported each other and we navigated tough decision-making, and we made good decisions on the behalf of this community and our students that we serve. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Superintendent Ryman. And now we'll move to the board and we'll go with Director McGuire, who is online.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't have too much to share today. Just it's been so beautiful to celebrate the wonderful things people have done and who are moving on to new things, but we're going to still get to see them around the community, and they're still our students who are going to do great and wonderful things. So it's a very exciting time, and I wish everyone a happy and a summer with your families, and hopefully you get to do some enjoyable things, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, Director McGuire. And I'm going to kick it off to Director Kim. I'm going to wait for Director Lopez Moore to go first. Yes.
Oh my goodness. I was not expecting me first. Let's see. I'll just reiterate my thanks to the student reps. I'm excited to see where you all will go. I always want to keep tabs on all of our student reps to see where they end up, because you guys are so amazing, and I know we'll truly go off to change the world. So thank you for your service. Thank you, Director Lopez, Director Ward, for your service, and you will certainly be missed. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate the number of folks who came to speak on behalf of the personnel matter. Though those personnel decisions aren't under the purview of the board to handle those decisions, that type of support and engagement really shows that the community cares about our schools, our students, and the people who serve in our schools. So really want to appreciate the number of folks who came out and just showed their heartfelt support. So thank you. I think that's all for now. I think emotionally drained. Thank you. Thank you. Oh no, that's not all. Oh my goodness. This is my favorite time of the year because graduations, oh my goodness, graduations were amazing. I was able to attend a handful of them, and I always love the different versions of handshakes that you do with students and what their comfortability level is with handshakes. And so I always get a kick out of that. And last week, I was able to participate with Travis, Tamarack Elementary School's sixth grade class, Mrs. Jones's class, they planted, or they posted a a nesting box.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. A kestrel box.
Thank you.
Very important Oregon falcon.
Yes, I did not know what a kestrel was, and so I had these group of sixth graders educate me on this. But it was amazing because this is a project that started a year ago with fourth and fifth graders who looked out their window and would see these two birds always flying and kind of hanging out around their window. And they even named those birds Romeo and Juliet. And apparently one day they came and they were the birds were eating mice right in front of the window. And so these group of fourth and fifth graders got to see that. And that led to this beautiful discussion. And eventually a year-long project ensued where they actually built a bird box. And a year later, after coordinating with the city of Hillsboro, with the school district, with Reed's Crossing, they were able to get all of the approvals to be able to post a nesting box there. And so now if you go to it's right across from Tamarack Park, where the fake log tree nature area, water pump area is. Anyways, you'll be able to go there and see this nesting box. And it was just something that was so cool to be a part of. And I appreciate the extended invite. It was supposed to be Travis and I's one-on-one that day, and we were able to take it outdoors, and the students who braved the 90-degree weather that day, oh my goodness, it was, yeah. Anyways, it was great. So appreciated being able to interact with some sixth graders, and yeah, so happy summer, everyone. Now I'm really done. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Kim. Director Thomas?
To our student members and graduates, I have to say these words to you because they are always on my heart. Congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places, so off and away. You have brains in your head and you have feet in your shoes, and you can steer yourself in any direction that you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the person who will decide where you go. You'll look up and down streets, look them over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. And with your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not so good street. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. And theater, guys, was important to me because that's where I learned to read. So it's really important for me to share those words with you. So I just wanted to say that to you all. I'd also like to give a heartfelt thank you to Monique and Erica for a combined 12 years of service to this community and to this board. Sometimes you have to pause when you say it like that because that's a lot of personal sacrifice. It's a lot of personal time, and I just want to say thank you. Like several of us has mentioned, about 2 weeks ago, we had the privilege of attending graduation ceremony. And I did my own version of the math, and I'm sure Brooke and Audrey will probably correct me, but I think there may have been about 1,450 maybe graduates. And I can proudly say that I went to all 6. And I called it Grunt Week, and I told people at my job what I was doing. And they said, but you're so excited about it. I'm like, absolutely. Because for every diploma that I give out, for every handshake that I can give, I can get up the next day and come to work with you. It was really important. I will never forget the young lady who spoke for HOA this year. I will never forget the fact that their child was homeless and had no parents. And she graduated at the top of her class. I will never forget giving away a diploma to a child who proudly brings their toddler across the stage, because we embrace children, youth, as they are, where they are, with their young people, to understand that the sacrifice, they may not have chosen what we wanted them to choose, but they still chose. There's nothing you can say about us fighting to give a diploma. And we do that a lot up there. And it's hard to describe, but if you're in the audience, you just don't understand it until you're up there and you experience it. So I just wanted to say that it is the highlight of the year as a board member. And then finally, that it is where we are reminded why we do what we do. So thank you for this privilege and for another 4 years to do it again.
Thank you, Director Thomas. Director Watson?
Yes, just another voice in the chorus of thank yous, gratitude to our students. Thank you guys for spending a year with us. Thank you to your families for allowing you to spend a year with us and all the extra burdens that came with them. Elevating student voice is so important, and I'm glad that we were able to implement this program. And I also think one of the unintended side effects is that when there are students in the room, the grown-ups kind of aspire to be the best version of themselves. So thanks for helping us do that. Thanks, Monique and Erica, for your years of service. I will miss you both. Welcome to our new students. Look forward to working with you. Yes, graduation time is amazing. I see Katie here. You get the opportunity to hand out diplomas next year, and it's probably the most rewarding thing of the job. Yeah, summer in Hillsboro is pretty amazing. So get out there and enjoy it. And I'm going to make a plug because 1 week from today, if you're interested, you can come see my band at the Tuesday Market. So my band will be playing at Tuesday Market 1 week from tonight, and I hope to see you all there. Thanks.
Thank you, Director Watson. Thank you to our student representatives. Thank you, Abe, for those wise, beautiful, kind words you shared. And one of the questions that I was asked at this interview with our past representatives, not current students who we interviewed, was what is your favorite thing to see from your student representatives? And I said, my favorite thing is to see the growth that our students, once they come in, sometimes they're a little bit shy, because it can be a daunting space to be in a room with adults at this level. And I said, that is my favorite thing, to see how they, come out of their shell towards the end and they flourish and they ask questions and they have comments and they bring their wise perspective. And that is what I've seen from all three of you. Like Abe, how you had mentioned you were so nervous when you went in for your interview, and look at you now. You gave that wonderful, you shared those wonderful words with us. And that is my favorite thing to see from student representatives. And yes, it was graduation week, and I wanted to say thank you to Saide and everyone who took part of, that whole week, putting up everything, making sure everything went as smooth as possible. And it was really hot some of those days, but thank you so much. Thank you, Rose, for another wonderful school year. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. And I support you in any way that you support me. So thank you. And thank you to Erica and Monique for all of your years and expertise that you have given to our community. So thank you. And now this is a little bit different, but we wanted to finalize this meeting with your guys' final words as board members. Who wants to go first?
I would just say that I want to say congratulations to the graduates of this year. It is definitely a highlight, and most years I actually have a family member that I've given a diploma to because my family is here in the community, and that's always just extra rewarding to be able to do that. So I have my little cousin this year who I was able to hand her a diploma or celebrate her. It's just a plus of being from this community. And thank you to our student reps. Similar to a way that you took the words out of my mouth, that I so like to see this journey from when you first come on. And this year I happen to be seated right here, so I'm like extra close to you all. And then seeing you kind of bloom in this role as the time progresses. And it is, even as an adult, like it's kind of like a very formal process, and it can be a little intimidating, but you all have come in and found your voice and your rhythm and know when to chime in and when to talk. And that's part of the figuring it out, is like, when do I ask questions? When do I say something, and what point? And you all have done an excellent job of governance. So I celebrate you for that, and I'm really proud of you all. And I know I'll see you in the community as I see most of our student reps later on, just in the community, out and about. And that makes me really happy. Welcome to our new student reps that are going to be joining next year. I'm sorry that I don't get to be on the board, but you are in really excellent hands with the board that is left here. Thank you to my fellow board members for an amazing time. Serving with you here has been so great. Even when we don't agree, it's always been such an example to show our community how we can have these conversations and be transparent about our conversations and the way that we feel and what our values is and why we vote certain ways or why we do certain things. I think that is something that I really value just in general about our community. I'm gonna definitely miss all of you. Cabinet, you guys are amazing. You always are on your A game, especially for our board meetings. You always answer our questions, even like the random question from out of nowhere about an item. You figure it out and you know how to address our questions, and you always follow up with us when you don't have it on the spot. And I appreciate that because it always makes us feel as a board member that our opinion is being considered or that you're taking the time to look things up for us. I am so incredibly just in awe of your dedication, your professionalism, especially when we deal with topics that are very difficult sometimes and very personal and emotional for a lot of families and community members. When you're dealing with people's money and with people's children, we're in it. Like these are the issues that really impact people personally. And I just appreciate how much you don't take it personally and you know that it's because people care and they show up a lot when something that impacts them. So I'm extremely proud of your professionalism, your ability to always listen to our community members, making sure that they feel heard and that you take into consideration their opinion and also always align with what our values is with our district and where we're trying to go, and you make your decisions and choices based on that. So I appreciate that. And Travis, thank you for your leadership these past couple of years. I know you're getting into your role as superintendent. I appreciate the steadiness that we have been able to have of having you come from our own district and how that has created stability for us as I look at other districts and sometimes the difficult times that they have to deal with onboarding and hiring new superintendents. That has been a real benefit for us. And I look forward to your continued leadership here at the district. I'm not going too far serving on the bond committee, so I'll still be here. And to the staff that is, I was going to say also the staff that helped all the logistics for graduation. It's insane. Like, it's a whole production. Like, it's huge. 4 high schools, the amount of people, of families, coordinating vehicles, traffic, the partnership with the city, all of that. It's amazing what we're able to do. And like, we do it in a week, and it's crazy to me that it runs so smoothly to me. And that just means that you guys are doing all this work behind the scenes. So thank you so much for all that labor of love that you do. And it's amazing to see the community show up and support their kids. And I realize like this is like one of the major milestones in their lives, and they're going to remember this day for a long time. So you make it really special. To our HEA and HEU partners that always come and talk to us and give us a perspective of like what's happening with the teacher or with the licensed and classified staff. And I enjoy hearing just the updates from you all and giving us kind of the beat on the street of like what's going on. Thank you for your perspective all the time and your partnership, honestly, that you're always willing to have these conversations with us and come to the table and engage with our cabinet, with our board members. That relationship is one of the things that I'm the most proud of when I say that I serve on Hillsboro School District, because I know how it looks like in other places. And I am so encouraged, even as this year we had, difficult time, that relationship and dynamic continues. And to the staff also that makes our board meetings flawless, of our mics, our sound, our video, all of that stuff that Sierra and all of the stuff that happens behind the scenes. And it's just all the little things that they're always taking care of that, that people don't see, but it's happening behind the scenes. So thank you so much for everything. I'm so just happy to have served with you all. And I know I'll see you around. So, okay. Love you all.
Thank you, Director Lopez. Director Ward?
All right. A few words. I want to say good evening to everyone. I want to thank the residents of Hillsboro for the honor, the privilege, and the opportunity to sit in this seat and represent the conservative voice on this board for the last 4 years. I've learned about school budgets, school policies, procedures, met a few of the dedicated teachers who serve these students. Thank you to all the admin and cabinet for your support and assistance in my many, many, many emails. I've listened to numerous parental concerns and staff concerns around student safety and out-of-control students, heard presentations on DEI, state laws, state mandates, and more. I've had the opportunity to participate in BizTown, a STEM challenge in the classroom, visit some schools along the way, and participate in graduation. I had the honor of attending Oak Street campus's graduation this year and listened to the passion and affection the staff there had for their students, and the love and affection of these students they had for their teachers. I was impressed with the tenacity of these students and their desire to not only complete their high school education, but to excel. Congratulations to all the graduates of 2025. It has been an honor to serve, and sometimes this service comes with a price. 4 years ago, I questioned transgenderism, and as a consequence of that, I was dismissed from my volunteer work with the Washington County Sheriff's Office over one complaint. Why? I was told because my values were incompatible with the direction they wanted to go. So much for inclusiveness. You see, having defined moral values, standing for absolute truth comes with a price. But we as a society have to do better when we disagree. It is completely unacceptable what we see in our society today with personal attacks and cancel culture, doxing, etc. We've seen this across our country. Our students need to know that this is an unacceptable way to handle disagreements. In our society, we have lost the ability to disagree with each other's position and articulate those disagreements in a civilized way. We have to hear both sides and then decide. We as a society have attempted to do away with absolute truth and right versus wrong. We want to color everything gray and a personal choice. If everyone's truth is equal, why do we have laws and rules and policies? It's precisely because we cannot have our own personal truth and it not collide with someone else's. There has to be an absolute truth upon which a civilized society lives, or there's no civilized society. Otherwise, we then have divisiveness and chaos, victimhood, weakness, and misery. We cannot allow emotions to triumph over common sense and reason, even science and facts. As a state, we legalized possession of hard drugs, and then later, after that great experiment yielded its unavoidable results, we quietly reversed course while we're trying to convince our students not to start down that devastating path. We teach students that suicide is not the answer, but then our state champions just the opposite. Our state should be working in concert with us, not against us. A reminder that having moral values and defending those values is not being political. It's about truth, and the decisions we make matter. My favorite author, Thomas Sowell, summed it up best when he said, "When you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear." I hope the board will consider these thoughts and examine what we are saying and doing and our example to our impressionable students, for whom we have been trusted to help shape and educate. Again, I am grateful for the opportunity to sit in this chair and to have represented the residents of Hillsboro. I hope everyone has a safe and adventure-filled summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Lopez and Director Ward. I did forget to mention that I remembered was congratulations, Cal. I know Director Thomas and Lopez and I sort of surprised you when we gave you your diploma and gave you a big old hug because you were just like, what is happening? Instead of a handshake. And what Director Lopez had said, when I never honestly saw myself running for school board, and then I did, and it was great to hand my cousin his diploma. He graduated from Liberty. He was also shocked because I gave him a hug, but also not a big hugger myself. And so that was awesome. But I wanted to say that I hope you'll have a great and safe summer. And I wanted to end this meeting with my favorite quote that I found myself coming to a lot more often this school year because of the things that were happening, not just, nationwide, whether it's politics, but also within our budget and in our school. And that quote is by my personal hero, Brian Stevenson. And that quote is, always do the right thing, even when the right thing is the hard thing. And so with that, I am adjourning this meeting at 8:41.